I went to one of them. Choose your number. You want that's kind of the bell curve. You should plan to live to around 82. Might make a little further, might not make it quite as far. And then, oh, hi everybody. I was talking about death, specifically my death, and when that will happen, which, let's see, 82. Currently I'm 49, my last power of 7, so I got 31 more years, and it's 2015. It's 2015, people. For me, I don't know when you're watching this on YouTube or whatever's taken over after Google crumbles, because I don't know what that Google did, but they're on the way out. When your company has a hard-to-explain reorganization with a peppy little name and oh, we're going to get synergies, blah blah blah, it's on the way down. It's on the luge into bankruptcy most of the time, is my observation. Anyway, what was I saying? 49, I'm 49, I'm 50. So 31 years from now, it's 2015, 2030. I'm not going to make it to 2040, man. That's, yeah. I'd always assumed I'd make it to 2040 because February 6th, 2040, that's when the old Mac clock rolls over back to 0. And I assumed if nothing got me before then, that was going to be it. It was like, it's the Mac OS 9 Y2K problem.
Being told you'll live to 2040. Your math is wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. My math is wrong. I shouldn't try to do math on the show, people. Here's what we can take. Hi, welcome. It's October 1st. It's 2015. We're taping the second show in high def. And I've been looking over that editing guy, trying to keep him on track. We've been editing a new show. We do all new titles. We do new opening. We do new credits. We do new everything, because when you go from 4:3, crappy SD resolution to 16:9, look, watch, I can do this. I can do this on camera too, and you still can't see. Well, I guess you. Okay, it's not as wide as I thought. I'm looking. There's still something. There's got to be. Oh, wow, this is freaky. This is freaky. I'm like looking in the. Now I know how weathermen feel. They're looking at a TV and where they're. Sorry. Anyway, it's October. We're taping in high def. I hope the makeup looks as good this month as it did last month, because I didn't look anywhere near as bad in that as I assumed I was going to look in high def. I was like, I am going to be profoundly unattractive, and I am merely mostly unattractive in high def. I tried to make a mental note to myself to wear my special space underwear this morning. I forgot to wear my special space underwear. I'm just wearing ordinary purple underwear. I used to have a very boring underwear drawer in that I always bought exactly the same pair of underwear, Fruit of the Loom, 32 to 34s, just briefs. And I bought those because when I was in college, I opened a pair of underwear and they weren't sewn shut across the bottom, and I was bored, so I mailed the Fruit of the Loom company. I looked up the CEO and I mailed him a package, and I said, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I bought a pair of underwear. They weren't sewn shut across the bottom. They had an inspected by inspector number 33 tag in them. Maybe you can go have a talk with him and just, maybe he didn't know they were supposed to be sewn up at the bottom. And then for like 6 months after that, I got an amazing series of things from different people at Fruit of the Loom. Because I assume, much like I was bored when I wrote the letter, the CEO guy was bored when he got it. And he apparently was like, to his, Margaret, make 7 copies of this and mail them out to these 7 vice presidents. And I got a big case of underwear from the CEO's office, and then I got a letter from the director of the plant where Inspector 33 was working that let me know that occasionally this kind of thing happens, and they try to catch it, but occasionally they miss it. And by the way, they aren't individual people. You can't track it down to an individual person. They need the inspected by number 17 and the date code on the back of the package to really know. They didn't care, and he would make efforts to, try to look into this. And I'd ask a question. I was like, I see these Fruit of the Loom commercials on TV all the time, and I recognize the apple, and I recognize the banana. I don't know what those other two things are. And then I got like 4 different letters from someone in marketing that sent me a long history of the Fruit of the Loom company. He's like, they're grape leaves. They're green grape leaves and purple grape leaves because, and I've forgotten now, it's a long time ago, but mumble, we made it up, Fruit of the Loom, they're grape leaves. And then I got another letter from someone in we're marketing people, and he's like, I thought you'd want to see the new commercial that we're doing, and here's a sketch of the shots we're going to do for the commercial, and then here, look, later we did the commercial, and here's the photos of each part of the commercial, and it should be showing up on the air in a couple months. And then later I'm watching TV, and I'm like, that's the commercial, and I was like, look, I got the thing, and people were like, you got to get a life, Keith. You're at college, for God's sakes. You should drink. You should have something exciting going on. You shouldn't be riding the Fruit of the Loom. Anyway, for years and years and years, I only bought exactly that pair of Fruit of the Loom underwear. In part because it made it really easy. They were just a big stack of exactly the same kind of underwear. So as they would get old, I would just throw them away. And I say but usually it was Loretta, would decide that this pair of underwear wasn't going to be kept anymore. And then eventually my underwear drawer would not have a lot of underwear in it, and I'd go to the closet and I'd get another pack out. Lately I branched out into first I went to other kinds of Fruit of the Loom. Like I went gray. It was hard to find white Fruit of the Loom underwear, so I started buying the gray stuff. And then I bought some boxer briefs because they were a little more comfortable when I was jogging. A little more support is what I'm going to say. A little more support while I was jogging. And then I got a deal on purple underwear once, and I was like, why not? I could wear purple underwear. I'm comfortable wearing purple underwear. I'd be okay if I had to flee a burning building in my underwear, to stand outside of a burning building in purple underwear. I would not feel at all uncomfortable. I am very comfortable doing that. So I did that. And then Loretta bought me space underwear. Which is underwear covered with planets and moons and solar systems and other astronomical bodies of various sorts in honor of space, which is important. We got new pictures of Pluto. Pluto, we didn't used to know what Pluto looks like. Now we probably have better high-resolution pictures of Pluto than we have of our former presidents. And I say that because I don't think we have any pictures of any of our presidents before maybe Lincoln. Maybe the guy before Lincoln at the earliest. I don't know where I'm going with that. But really, we have a lot of really great pictures of Pluto. I've been looking at them on the web. It's like, man, that's a planet. Except it's not. It feels bad. What else? People, get your flu shots. I don't know when you're going to watch this, but every year you should get a flu shot. So even if that editing guy takes a year to edit this, you're going to see this a year from now, and you're going to be like, hey, Keith told me to get a flu shot. My whole arm is sore because I got my flu shot yesterday. They gave me a little Band-Aid. They asked me 3 times, have you had a flu shot before? And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, did you have a bad reaction? And I was like, no. They're like, but you had a flu shot. Yes, which I didn't have a bad reaction to. They were like, wait, you had a bad reaction? I'm like, no, I had a flu shot to which I did not have a bad reaction. I wouldn't have said the opposite. I wouldn't have said I had a bad reaction after not getting the flu shot. Right? That pair doesn't go. The nice nurse lady, right? I'm not a big fan of needles. When I was young, I was just freaked out by them. Like I used to hate to go to the doctor because they'd give you a shot, and that's worse than being sick a lot of the time. I think because when I was really little, I had a bunch of medical tests that involved them sucking a bunch of blood out of me, and then repeatedly poking me over and over and over to determine all the things I'm allergic to. Just dozens and dozens and dozens of, we're going to stick you, we're going to stick you, we're going to stick you. And then in 6th grade, I had this textbook. You know how books get to where when you set it down, they just open to a particular page because the spine's been kind of cracked a little or something. In this case, the book always opened to this one page where in the upper corner, there was a picture of a girl getting a flu shot. And it was terrorizing. It was triggering. Like every time I'd put this book down to do some of my homework, it would open it up and I'd be looking at a picture of a huge needle, like getting a polio shot in some little girl's arm. And it screwed my brain for years. So much so that when I got to college, I was like, you got to get over this, Keith. You can't be an adult and be afraid of needles. It's fine to be an adult and be afraid of spiders. But needles is not okay. So I forced myself to start giving blood because I thought I'd be a little good for something to convince me to go do it. So now I give blood like a lot of times a year. As many as you're allowed. I'm not a rebel. And they're still vaguely painful when they poke you, but I've gotten over the fear of needles things. So again, people, if you get a flu shot, but even so, when the lady's giving me the flu shot, I keep triggering back to this picture in the textbook. So I always look away, and then flu shot, it's over, it's 10 seconds. Then your arm's gonna hurt for a day or two, it's okay. In this case, she's like, poke, flu shot, and then she puts the needle down, and I'm like, where did the needle part go? She's like, you're an engineer, aren't you? And I'm like, yes, you're at an engineering company. A lot of people that come in here are gonna be engineers. She's like, yeah, but only like a third of them ask where the needle went, and everyone that does is an engineer. And then she's like, it's really amazing. There's this little spring in here, and as soon as you push down to inject something, it releases a little spring, so as soon as I pull back, the needle just gets sucked back up into the thing, and then we just throw the whole thing away. And in my brain, I was both terrified at the waste, and that we've made a little piece of plastic, which we're now going to bury in a landfill, but also amazed at the technology. Because they're like, well, we used to have a problem where one time in 7,000 people would poke themselves with a needle, and that caused problems. Now we've arranged so that no one can poke themselves with this needle because it ceases to be a needle the moment we finish giving you the flu shot. Technology, people. It's amazing. Anyway, I'm running for president, people. I've been watching for a long time. There's no one good running for president. I'm running for president. I think. I'm not sure what's involved, but please vote for me if you figured out how. I'm not the worst candidate in the race. I'm not the best. I guarantee you I'm not the best candidate in the race, but I've seen the people that are running. I'm better than at least one of them. Two. I'm better than some of them. We don't know who's still in the race by the time you watch this. Flu shot, we talked about Pluto, we talked about that. Festival food. As you all know, I get sucked into volunteering for things because I'm a gullible sucker. People say, Keith, can you help out with blank? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. It seems like it'd be a good thing to do. And in this case, they were like, hey, Keith, we want to sell food in an art and wine festival. Can you help a little bit with the cooking? And I'm like, you okay? I can cook. They're like, we're going to be making Irish nachos. I'm like, I've never heard of Irish. I don't know how to make Irish nachos. So like, it's really easy, even though we've never done it before because we just made up what Irish nachos are a couple days ago. But they're waffle fries covered with cheese and sour cream.
Bacon.
And then there's bacon on top. The bacon makes them okay. And then you put some green onions on if you want. And I briefly thought, why do you call those Irish? Because of the potatoes. See, as we all know from our history of the Irish potato famine, the Irish love potatoes and nacho cheese and sour cream, and I don't know where they came up with this. I don't know how this was theme appropriate, but they were like, we're making Irish nachos. They're potatoes with sour cream and nacho cheese and green onions and bacon. And I was like, okay, what do you need? And they're like, well, we need someone to cook the potatoes. I'm like in an oven? And they're like, no, we're going to deep fry them. And I'm like, okay, that's going to be kind of hot work, but good thing it'll be in mid-September, so it won't be 100 degrees. Except because of Al Gore, now it's 100 degrees in mid-September. Like if it's mid-September, you're at an art and wine festival, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be 100 degrees. You're going to be sitting over a thing of hot oil, or in this case, 3 things of hot oil, because they're selling a lot of Irish nachos, and you can't keep up with just one thing. So I was trying to put all my engineering things to work. First they were like, okay, we're going to do a test run. We bought deep fryers. And then we're like, okay, so we'll make a batch, and we'll see how long it takes. And then we'll prepare them, and we'll taste them, and we'll see what kind of cheese, and how much sour cream, or whatever. And we make a batch, and they taste them, and like, hey, these are pretty good. I mean, they're going to kill us, because they're deep fried and then covered with cheese, and then the cheese is covered with sour cream. And then the sour cream has some green onions put on it. Those are healthy. But then, to make sure that doesn't corrupt things, we cover those with bacon. But leaving that aside, we're like, okay, well, it took 4 minutes to cook the potatoes, and we got 3 orders of potatoes out of that basket. So that means best case, we could cook 45 orders an hour. Like, well, that's not going to work, because we were hoping to sell 200 orders an hour. I'm like, well, then then we need another one. We need another fryer, and then, well, the fryer's 15 amps, and the other fryer's 15 amps, and they're only giving us 30 amp service, and so we can't get a third one. So then we had to get a big propane thing with a huge, very scary pot of boiling oil. We'd be cranking the temperature back and forth, and then it's amazing if you dump frozen potatoes into 340 degree oil, that oil drops in temperature, and then you got to spend time getting it. Was 2 long days of stressful trying to fry stuff as fast as possible so we could sell it to people, so we could make money for charity. And we made a bunch of money for charity, and it was really ungodly hot. And I had to shower when I got home after showering in the morning, because you smell like, I don't even know what kind of fat it was, but that's what I smelled like. It's exciting. We're going to do it again next year. So you can come by. You can get a look. Halloween costumes. It's October, so we're ramping up for the big Halloween party. If you know who I am, like in real life, you're invited. If I haven't invited you, say, hey, Keith, can I get invited to your Halloween party? And as long as your initials aren't Harpreet, you can come. All right, Harpreet can come. Harpreet can come too. I mean, no, we can't wear the watch. Got to wear a different watch, but Harpreet can come. Our parties always have a theme. I have nothing to do with the theme in practice. People think about the theme, and then they ask me, hey, what do you think about this theme? And then I say, well, I think that would be okay. And then maybe they'll ask me about a different theme, and to which I will say, I think that'll be okay. And then eventually there's a theme agreed upon by the people who agree upon the theme. And then my job is to come up with a costume that is theme appropriate. Like a couple years ago, I can't remember exactly what the theme was. Something monsters, whatever. I went as the flying spaghetti monster, because that's what you do. So I sewed a bunch of little tubes out of fabric. And by sew, I mean I had someone else do it, because I don't know how to sew. And then I bought balloons, and then I inflated all the long balloons, and I stuck them into each tube, and then I wound them around my body in a very confusing way that looked like spaghetti, and I wore a big meatball on my head. And then all night long, people went, you're a flying spaghetti monster. Or you're a very confusing pile of something. There are more flying spaghetti monster people than piles of something. Last year I went as a pirate, because I have a pirate costume, and pirate's a great costume, and no one ever looks at you in a pirate costume and says, what are you? It's nice if they do say, what are you? Because I usually can say I'm a pirate accountant because I have a pirate costume, but I also have a little vest on, an abacus, and other things that pirate accountants would have if there were pirate accountants. And there probably are pirate accountants because piracy involves money, and anything that involves money has accountants. Like if you're on a ship, you don't want to steal a bunch of something and then not divvy it up according to whatever the pirate divvying up rules are, which I think are everyone gets some. I'm a little confused about how actual piracy works because I've really only ever seen Peter Pan, which isn't really much of a pirate movie, although it does have a pirate in it, but he's a terrible pirate. It's raining in California, people, but that doesn't mean the drought is over. I just want to say that because I'm getting tired of people posting on Facebook, my car got wet, the drought is over. No, the drought is not over. The drought will be over like 3 years from now if it rains a lot this year and next year and the year after that, right? We are woefully behind. Your car getting a little damp is not enough to end a drought. We need, saw the pictures, right? They're like, when it rains, the water goes into the ground and it actually pushes the ground up. And then when we pump water out of the ground slowly sinks because all the little holes the water was in get compressed. And then when it rains again, the water can't reinflate those holes for many years. So like all of California has actually fallen a couple feet, right? We are crazy behind on water, people, is all I'm saying. The drought, not over. On the other hand, it doesn't mean I couldn't bike to work yesterday or today. Not because you can't bike in the rain, but because if there's much of a risk of rain, I don't bike. Because biking in the rain while possible is miserable, especially if it's actually raining at all. First of all, until recently, my bike did not have fenders because it was made to be kind of like a racing bike, and no one races bikes in the rain. So they were like, clearly we don't need fenders. We'll make this really heavy bike a little bit lighter by not putting them on. But what that meant is if I got on my bike in the rain at all, by the time I got off, I just had this solid strip of water up the middle of my body from it coming off the wheel and hitting me. Here's something, people. I need you to remind me on Twitter. I still have to do my taxes this year. As you know, they're due in 2 weeks. And I haven't done them yet. I preliminarily did them back in April and went, wow, that's a lot of money I owe. I should hire an accountant and I should do these taxes. I thought that last year too, and maybe the year before. And then I get to like September or October and I'm like, well, I guess I better finish up that TurboTax shit so I don't go to jail for not paying my taxes, although I paid my taxes, for not filing my taxes. I wonder if you can go to jail for paying the money but not, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can get sent to jail even if you pay all the money you owe, but you don't file them. So tweet me. People tweet me and say, Keith, finish your freaking taxes. Not now. Don't tweet me now. I'm on TV right now. Tweet me later. In other news, TV host news, two of my good friends, started their new TV shows. Stephen Colbert started the new Late Show on CBS, took over for Letterman. And Trevor took over The Daily Show from Jon Stewart. We watched the first couple of each of their shows. They're both doing fine. Funny thing, Colbert comes out and he dances around at the very beginning of his show. That man is freaking in shape because he's like kicking his legs up higher than my legs can. I was watching it. It was amazing. He's bouncing around like a crazy guy. We can't bounce around here because we don't have wireless mics. If I tried to jump around on camera, first of all, it would be hard to follow me. And second of all, you wouldn't hear a thing I was saying because the microphone would fall off and then bad things would happen. Anyway, we saw Birdman. We went and saw the Birdman. No, we didn't see the Birdman movie. I've been a member of Netflix since it started in the DVD plan. But I don't manage to watch things very often. So often they will mail me a DVD and it'll just sit in my house for like a month or two, and then they'll be like, well, maybe we should watch that, and then we'll finally watch it and mail it back, right? I'm paying like $30 for every DVD from Netflix. So on that, I was like, hey, I never saw that Birdman movie with Michael Keaton in it. And then I got it, and I was like, by gum, we're going to watch this movie next week. We'll watch this movie next, and then we did watch it next week. And it was about what I had guessed it was from the TV commercials. It was kind of quirky. It was a quirky movie. And it ended in a weird spot. I don't know how to describe it, right? Like these days you think movies, wow, I'm getting the most amazing signals. I'm getting the little fluffy bunny foo-foo signals. Fluffy bunny foo-foo and hop. Oh, now it's the Italian you are not a nice man signal. Aha, I see where this is going. Okay, I got 2 minutes. I got 2 minutes, people. Ingress. I've been playing this game called Ingress for a long time. And it's kind of a game, and it's kind of a cult that sucks you in and makes you do weird things. Like, I got to walk around this place and stare at my phone and type on it. Okay, that's just a normal thing nerds do. But I got to walk around like in the middle of the night, and I got to capture things. I'm on the valiant blue resistance side, opposed to the green frogs, who are, as I understand, evil or misguided. I don't know which. Anyway, today, big day for me today. 150 days held a portal, so I got my Onk's Guardian badge, which doesn't impress any of you. Maybe one of you, maybe one person out there is impressed, but it's 150 days. A lot of work to get that, and by a lot of work, I mean no, it was just tap on the screen. It was just tap, 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 do some stuff, tap, tap, get a little, you gotta be lucky. Gotta be lucky to have that, be able to do that for 150 days, but I guess that's about it. The last thing I had written down was abbreviations on the web. I thought of this because recently more Hillary Clinton's emails have been coming out. And as expected, Hillary Clinton is about roughly the age of my mother. And so I kind of assume all the things my mother thinks are things Hillary Clinton thinks. Like, my mother does not get acronyms on the web. So Hillary Clinton said, she's like, what by the way, does FUBAR mean? Acronyms on the web, people. Do you know I only recently learned that TIL means things I learned? Like, for the longest time, I thought it meant something else.
Today I learned.
Today I learned. Man, I learned it wrong. I had always assumed it was things. I had learned it as things I learned. Because I swear sometimes when I've seen it, it wasn't today. It was, okay, TIL, if you see it, means today I learned, or maybe things I learned. But not the thing I used to think it meant, which was, I don't know, techno in Latin. I can't remember, but I was like, well, you put this when you, it was crazy. See you all next month, people. It's been lovely.